Hi there! In addition to our trips abroad in the last few years, mainly to the Nordic countries, we would like to show you trips in Poland where we live in. This time you will see a trip on the Pilica where we have been 5 times in 6 years. This was our 3rd trip in the first week of August 2022. The first 2 we did in kayaks and we will present those trips soon. We also took our friends and paddled for 5 days. It started in Spała and ended in Warka. In the video you will find details of the trip, interesting places to stay and land, and what to visit along the way. Enjoy watching! We arrived at the kayak rental, which is located in Warka. There we left the cars, our friends picked out the equipment, and then we were driven by a rental employee to the launch site in Spała, where we spent the night, and in the morning we set off on our trip. We took a walk around Spała in the morning as the weather was not perfect for kayaking. We saw the Olympic Sports Center and the beautiful water tower. It is worth knowing that Spała was the hunting residence of Tsars and later the summer residence of Polish presidents. The town is situated in the Spała forests where game was hunted in the past. Spała was also favored by the Polish presidents in the interwars period, especially Ignacy Mościcki, who founded a large church in the heart of the town. Not far from Spała, in the village of Canoe, there is one of 2 railway bunkers from the Second World War. On the first day of the trip, we passed Inowłódz, home to St. Giles Church, which can be seen from the river, as well as the ruins of a castle and a synagogue. There's a shop in the synagogue, but it's worth stopping there not only for supplies for the trip, but also to look around for the remains of the former temple. We spent the first night behind the village of Kozłowiec on a wild campsite called the beach on the Pilica River. Landing points for kayaks, depending on the location, are plentiful, or there are isolated areas where you will not find suitable camping sites. Such a place is visible from our first camp on the other side of the river. It's worth remembering that you have to look for these locations on your own. Numerous wild camping sites can be found along the route. In places you will come across sites organized by municipal authorities or rental companies. It's usually possible to stay overnight here and sometimes to leave later. These are also locations close to the road, so that's convenient to bring or take the kayaks.
Spała, Wisła i Bystrzyca.
Nie są takie jak Pilica.
Pozdrawiamy! Uśmiechnij się do mnie ładnie.
In the forests of Spała, there's the entrenchment of Major Hubal. Beyond the road bridge to nowe miasto nad Pilicą is the aforementioned area where it's impossible to pitch a tent for the night due to wetlands or high banks. So, when we found ourselves there in the late afternoon, we took advantage of the first convenient landing next the historic wooden bridge, the longest wooden bridge in Poland. Nearby, a 15-minute walk, are the Gostomka ponds and the Gostomka Friary, where you can eat delicious fresh fish. Along the Pilica you can find bathing sites, not always at campings. While paddling, it's possible to stop there, bathe and move on. With a length of 319 kilometers, the Pilica is the longest left tributary of the Vistula. It flows in the town of Pilica in the Kraków-Częstochowa upland. If you want to spend more time on the river, you can start in Szczecocina, the first possible navigable section for kayaks. From there you can follow the Pilica trail, then enter the Vistula and paddle all the way to Gdańsk. We have chosen the lower part of the river. The Pilica is easy to paddle across and not too deep either. There are often shallows, but they are easy to avoid as the river is quite wide. In total, we paddled over 100 kilometers, which is the lower latitudinal part of the river from Spała to Warka. We didn't paddle much because we were not interested in spending time with friends. In the area we paddled, the river meanders widely, but there are still numerous shallows and islands in the riverbed, so the river divides into two branches. Occasionally, choosing the wrong branch can cause the canoe to pull out of the shallow water. The weather, most of the time, favored us. On the last day we stood 5 times due to the cyclical downpours associated with storms passing through the area. We rented a canoe from a friend who runs a kayak and canoe rental called Canoe and put it on the roof. We brought it with us from Lublin, where we live. Canoes are rarely available in the rental shops in the Warka area. We rented kayaks for friends locally. It's easy to rent them in this area, as you can find a kayak rental at every turn along the Pilica River. On the way, we passed a leisure center a few minutes downstream from Białobrzegu, but it was closed even though it was season. On the other hand, there is a large campsite in Warka where you can stay overnight. We also passed a number of kayak rentals along the way where it's possible to pitch a tent, but it's better to contact the landlord first and make arrangements for your stay.
No i wiesz, w zasadzie to już było dla Canoe.
You should know that there are shops within half an hour walking distance. The closest shop to the shore is at the Domaniewice crossing. That's why we took 5 days worth of food with us, because it's not always easy to find a shop quickly, and it's also worth remembering that shops in the countryside are not very well stocked.